Hello, everybody. This is Menopause Taylor bringing you the state of menopause in the world today. And I am your menopause educator. But sometimes I'm more of a medical educator. And in some instances, I'm even a business educator. In the last broadcast, I was talking to you about the fact that our health care system is really more of a disease care system because doctors are trained to treat disease. They are not part of the wellness industry that deals with health. But you don't deal with only your doctor when you have a disease. You deal with a bunch of other things that are built into the disease care system, most notably your health insurance company, which is really a disease insurance company. For simplicity, I'm just going to call it medical insurance. So today, I'm going to talk to you about medical insurance and the role of your medical insurance company in your medical care. Now, you may be saying, oh, phooey, I already know about medical insurance. But I guarantee that there are some things you don't know. Depending on where you live, your medical insurance situation will differ. But regardless of the structure of it, there are things about it that just don't make much sense. And a lot of the comments I'm going to make will pertain to the United States medical insurance system because it is without doubt the most confusing and convoluted one of all. Those of you living in a country with a single payer system or a national healthcare system or socialized medicine will probably be shocked at some of the things I'll be saying about the United States medical system. And you might just find yourselves feeling very, very fortunate. Let's just start with the broad topic of insurance. Now, if you've been listening to my broadcasts for any length of time, or you've been watching my YouTube videos, or you have my book, or you've seen my webinars, or anything, you probably know me well enough to realize that I think about everything. And I've also taken insurance law in law school, so I know a few things about it. I'm just going to say a few words about insurance in general. Have you ever thought of an insurance policy as a bet? Yeah, you heard me correctly. I mean a bet. All insurance policies are really a bet between you and the insurance company. With life insurance, it goes like this. You say to the life insurance company, I'll bet you I'm gonna die. And the life insurance company says, I'll bet you're not. And you say, well, how about this? I'll pay you a bunch of money, and if I do die, you give me all that money and more. You give all that money and more to somebody else. With property insurance, it's the same principle. You say to the property insurance company, I bet you I'm gonna have property damage. And the insurance company says, I bet you're not. And you say, well, how about this? I'll pay you to pay me for my damaged property if it gets damaged. And with your car insurance, you say to the car insurance company, I'll bet you I'm going to have a wreck. And the car insurance company says, I'll bet you're not. And you say, okay, I'll pay you. And if I do have a wreck, you pay to fix it. So with all insurance, you're assuming something will happen to you that obligates the insurance company to take care of you. The problem is that all insurance policies are riddled with exclusions and disclaimers to make it so that they don't have to take care of you. That's how the insurance companies make money. With medical insurance, you're betting that you'll get ill, and the insurance company is betting that you won't. And you expect the insurance company to take care of you if you do get ill. But without exception, medical insurance is the most poorly understood insurance of all. And this broadcast is going to help you understand why. This is especially true of the medical insurance industry in the United States. Why? Well, because in the US, you don't even shop for your medical insurance. You don't even shop for it. Your employer does. You shop for your life insurance, you shop for your property insurance, you shop for your car insurance. And because you shop for your life, property, and car insurance, you buy precisely what you want or need. You work directly with the insurance agent. You know what is covered, you know what isn't covered, and you know the rules for making a claim. But in the US, when it comes to your health or disease, someone else shops for your insurance. Your employer does all the shopping for your medical insurance, and then you just use what he or she offers you. Or maybe you have some degree of choice because some employers offer, say, like 3 levels of insurance. But most employees choose between them based on how much they have to pay personally. So generally speaking, in the US, individuals do not purchase medical insurance, employers do. Now, have you ever stopped to think about how weird that is? Like I told you, I think about everything. It's like, why? Why? I mean, what in the world do your employment and your health have in common? Absolutely nothing. So why in the world is your employer shopping for your medical insurance? You know, your medical insurance is quite possibly the most important of all your insurance products. And no doubt, it is absolutely without question the very most personal of all your insurance products. So again, what does your employer have to do with your health? Why does your employer have anything at all to do with your medical insurance? So you see, when I analyze things and think about questions like this, it sends me into research mode. I research everything. I want answers. I want to understand what's behind everything. So there's actually a historical basis for this situation in which medical insurance is given to you by your employer in the US. It all started in the 1940s during World War II. And this is a time when the National War Labor Board froze salaries for workers. And a lot of companies were having severe labor shortages and they couldn't get anyone to go to work. And so they decided to attract workers by offering health insurance instead of raising salaries. And back then, to encourage the trend, the federal government ruled that money paid for employees' medical insurance would be tax-free for the employer. So it was a win-win situation for everyone in the short term. It solved the problem of this freeze on salaries, and it got people to go to work, and it gave them health insurance, and it was a tax write-off for the employers. But the problem is that after the war ended, and salaries were no longer frozen, there was no longer a need for employment-based medical insurance. There was no reason for your employer to be involved with anything having to do with your medical insurance. But somehow, the United States neglected to disconnect employment and medical insurance. And the link between the two has remained ever since. And it's caused nothing but chaos. And no other country has that, where employment is one. No other country, no one else in any other country can understand what in the world is going on with the US and our medical insurance and the connection to employment. They're looking at us like, Are you crazy? Why in the world would you connect those two things? Here are some of the problems that are entailed when there's a connection between medical insurance and your employment. Number one, people don't have the employment longevity that they once had. I mean, way back when all of this started, people would go to work for a company and they'd work for that company for the rest of their lives. I mean, they'd work until they were 65 and they would die when they were 67. Basically, their connection with employment would be permanent. It would last the rest of their lives. But nowadays, people change jobs all the time. And when your employment changes, guess what? Your medical insurance changes. And what does that do? Well, that ends up interfering with your continuity of care. Continuity of care is where you have the same doctors, same institutions, same medical team looking after you over time because they get to know you. And the better they know you, the better the care you're going to get, just simply because they know you. But when you're changing employment all the time and changing insurance all the time and changing doctors all the time, all that continuity is lost and you don't get very good care at all because every time you have to go get care, you're dealing with someone new. And you have to start over and tell the whole story. And, people don't tell the story very well. Number two, as a problem with employment-based medical insurance, employers often change the insurance they offer. So even if you do continue to work for the same company for a long time, it is very likely that your medical insurance will still change because your employer may change what he wants to offer you. If all you have as an option is what you're offered, you're stuck with those choices. Let's say you're employed and you love your medical insurance and you love your doctor and you love the medical care you're getting. And suddenly your employer says, here, we're changing healthcare policies. Here's your new options. And what you have now is not on there anymore and you have to change. You are stuck. I mean, what are you going to do? Your only other option is to go buy it yourself and you don't even know how to do that. Third problem with employment-based medical insurance. Not everyone has an employer through whom they can get medical insurance. I mean, people who are employed part-time or not at all may have no affordable means at all of getting insurance. They are left out. They are stuck with nothing. And if you have to shop for it yourself, you don't know much about it because you've never shopped for it. You are twice removed from the process. You don't know how to shop for it. You don't know what to look for. You don't know how to compare policies. You've never done that. You've never had to do that because you've always had it handed to you by your employer. So you aren't a good consumer of the product. The fourth problem with employment-based medical insurance is that because medical insurance involves employers and whole companies, the insurance pools of people that determine costs are very, very distorted. The people who are working are the healthier people, but the semi-employed or the unemployed people are going to be sicker than fully employed people. So you end up with a very distorted perspective of the cost of taking care of people. And you just hope that it will even out in the big picture, but there's no way to know, right? And with everyone shopping for different products all the time, you really don't know. Now, think about another thing that's bad about getting your medical insurance through your employer. You know how you don't appreciate free things as much as you appreciate